Hey guys, welcome back. In this video I'm going to show you how to play a simple fingerstyle arrangement of Toss a Coin to Your Witcher. So let's get into it. So first of all, we need a capo on the first fret of our guitar. Now in this song we have three main sections. We have the intro, the verse and the chorus, after which we have slightly different variations of each of these which I'll show you. So let's start with the intro. It sounds like this. So the first chord that you have is an A minor chord shape, which is like this. So if you take this as your first fret, the one right after the capo, you're playing the first fret of the B string, the second fret of the G string and the second fret of the D string. You also have the A string and the high E string, which are both open, so you have this. On the right hand, you're playing the A string, the G string, the B string and the high E string with a roll like this. And after that you have this melody on top which sounds like this. So there you're playing the first fret of the B string and then you're pulling off to the open B string like this. And you're doing the same thing on the second fret of the G string. So you play the first fret and then you pull off. And here you play the second fret of the G string and then you pull off to the open G string. And with the chord it sounds like this. And after that you have this part. So here you're playing the fourth fret of the D string with your little finger and you're playing the second fret of the G string with your middle finger. So you pluck both of those two notes together like this. And on top you have this melody. So there your index finger plays the first fret of the B string and your ring finger plays the third fret of the B string. So you play the first fret and then hammer on onto the third fret. And then you play the first fret again and then you pull off to the open B string. Like that. So the whole thing becomes this. And with the chord it sounds like this. So you play the chord first and then while holding the chord you play the melody on top. And all together it sounds like this. So from the start up until here we have this. And after that we have this part. Now on the left hand we have a D minor chord shape. We are playing the first fret of the high E string, the third fret of the B string and the second fret of the G string. And we also have the open D string. So on the right hand we play that with a roll. We're playing the D, G, B and high E string together. So we're playing that with a roll like this. And on top of the chord we have this melody. So to play the melody, you have to play the third fret of the B string 2 times. And then you lift this up to have the open high E string. So you play that once. So we're playing the third fret of the B string 2 times. and then we're playing the open high E string once, and then we have this, which is basically you have to play the first fret of the B string and then pull off to the open B string and then play the second fret of the G string. So right after you played the chord, you have the melody, and right after that you have this. So here you're playing the third fret of the B string and you're also holding the second fret of the G string. So you're doing this. So you play the third fret of the B string once and then you play both of those two notes, the second fret of the G string and the third fret of the B string together. So you have this. Second time you plug them together and then you do this. So you play the first fret of the B string, then the third fret of the B string. And then you play this chord. So there you're playing the second fret of the G string, the third fret of the B string, and you also have the D string open and the high E string open. So you just play that with a roll, starting from the D string like this. So the whole thing from the start till here sounds like this. And to end the intro, you have these two chords. So in the first chord we have all the open strings, so we have the G, B and E string which we play with a roll like this. And in the next chord we just have to play the first fret of the G string while keeping the B string and the E string open. So we have this. So all together it sounds like this. And that's the intro. I'll play the whole thing once slowly. It sounds like this. So now we have the verse and it sounds like this. So the very first part of the verse is this. So the first chord that we have is this one, where we are playing the second fret of the G string, the third fret of the B string and the high E string which is open. So this is our bass note which we're going to play with the thumb. So it sounds like this. So if we go according to the string numbers this way, we have the first string, the second string, third string, fourth, fifth and sixth. Just keep in mind that this is our first string, the high E. So if we go according to the string numbers, we are playing 3, 1, 3, 2. So it sounds like this. So third string, first string, third string and then second string. So 3, 1, 3, 2. So after we play 3, 1, 3, 2 here, then we have this. So there we are lifting this up and then we are playing the first fret of the B string. So we plug the second fret of the G string and the first fret of the B string together like this. And then pull off from the first fret of the B string to the open B string. And then we do the same on this string, on the second fret of the G string. So we play that and then pull off. So we have this. So the whole thing sounds like this. And after that we have this. And now the chord that we have here is we have the 4th fret of the D string and the 3rd fret of the B string. We also have the high E string which is open. So we have this. So I'm playing the 4th string and then the 1st string, then the 4th string and then the 2nd string. So we have this. 4, 1, 4, 2. And after that we have this. And after that we are lifting this finger up to play the 1st fret of the B string. So now we have this. So we are playing the 4th fret of the D string and the 1st fret of the B string together. We are plucking them like this. And then we hammer on onto the 3rd fret of the B string. And then we play this. So we play both these two notes together. We plug the 4th fret of the D string and the 1st fret of the B string together. And then pull off from the 1st fret of the B string to the open B string. So the whole thing sounds like this. And all together we have this. So from the start it sounds like this. And after that we have this. So right after we played this, we have this. So here we're playing the 3rd fret of the D string and we're playing the 3rd fret of the B string and we have the high E string open. And again we have the same pattern on the right hand. We have 4, 1, 4, 2. And after that we have this. So here we start with the same chord. So we have this. So here I'm plucking the 4th string and the 2nd string together first. And then I'm playing the 2nd string again. And after that I'm plucking the 4th string and the 1st string together. Like that. So the whole thing becomes this. And after that you have this. So right after you played this, then you lift this up to bringing these two fingers. So you're playing the 1st fret of the B string and the 2nd fret of the G string now. So you have this. So here you play the B string first, which is the 2nd string, and then you play this, which is 4, 3, 4. So the D string, the G string, and then the D string again. So the whole thing is this. And with the first part it sounds like this. So from the start till here we have this. And right after that we have this. So right after you played this, you have this. So there first you're playing the 3rd fret of the B string, then you're plucking the open G string and the 3rd fret of the B string together. And after that you have this. So you're playing the 1st fret of the B string, then you're plucking the open G string and the 3rd fret of the B string together. So like that. And this part where you're changing this finger and playing the note for the 2nd time with this finger is very important because we need this finger to play the next chord. So we have this. So you're changing to your ring finger over there. Like that. So from the last part it sounds like this. And to end, you play the high E string which is open. Like that. So from the start of the verse till here we have this. And after that you have this part. So there you're bringing in this note on the 4th fret of the D string. So you have this. So there you're playing 4, 2, 4, 1. So you have the 4th fret of the D string and the 3rd fret of the B string. So you're playing 4th string, 2nd string, then 4th string, 1st string. Like that. And you repeat it once more. So you have this. And after that you have this. So here you have the open G string, the 3rd fret of the B string and the high E string which is open. So you're playing 3, 1, 3, 2 on the right hand. 3, 1, 3, 2. And after that you bring in this note on the 1st fret of the G string and you leave the high E string open and you have this. So there you have 3, 2, 3, 1. Like that. So the whole thing becomes this. So I'll play it from the start up until this point. It sounds like this. And after that you kind of repeat this whole part, but the very last bit is different. So in the very last bit you play this. So you start by playing the open high E string once like this. And after that you play the 3rd fret of the high E string and you play the open G string together. So you plug both of those. And after that you have this. So there you play the open high E string again. And then you play the 3rd fret of the B string with the open G string. And then you play the E string again. Like that. So the whole thing becomes this. So I'll play it from the start again. It sounds like this. And after that we have one more round of this thing, at the end of which it transitions into the chorus. So we have this. So at the very end we have this. Which transitions into the chorus. So we already know this part up until here. This is what we already did before. After that we have this. So you're playing the open G string and then you're playing the B string again to begin. And then you're doing 2 and 3 and 4 and with the strumming. So while you're strumming, keep in mind that you have to mute the A string and the low E string. So you mute that with your middle finger like this, or you can keep your thumb like that if that's easier for you. So the only strings that you have ringing while you're strumming is the top 4 strings, the D, G, B and E. So you have this 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. So the entire verse sounds like this. And now we have the chorus, which sounds like this. So right after you played the last bit of the verse, the chorus starts with an A minor chord, which is like this. So on the left hand, you're playing the 2nd fret of the D string, the 2nd fret of the G string, and the 1st fret of the B string. You also have the A string open and the high E string open, so it should sound like this. So you play the chord with one downstroke like this. So you use the tip of the nail of your index finger on the right hand to play it like this. And after that you have this. So there you're playing this melody. So there you're playing the 2nd fret of the G string and the 1st fret of the B string. So you play the 3rd string and then the 2nd string while holding the A minor chord. So you have this. And after that you change the chord, so you get this. So here you have the 1st fret of the G string and the 3rd fret of the B string. And you have the high E string open. So you play the 1st fret of the G string with your index finger, then the little finger plays the 3rd fret of the B string. And the high E string has to be open. So you pluck all of those 3 strings together like this. So you get this from the start. And after that you have this part. So right after you played this chord, you have to bring in the middle finger there to the 1st fret of the B string, so that when you pull off from this note on the 3rd fret, you get the 1st fret of the B string. So it should sound like this. So essentially what you're doing there is you're pulling off from the 3rd fret of the B string to get the 1st fret of the B string like this. Now if you play it with the chord, it sounds like this. So from the start you have this. And after that you have this. So right after you played this, you have this. So there you have the open G string and the open high E string, and you're also playing the 3rd fret of the B string with your ring finger. So there you're playing the open G string and the 3rd fret of the B string together, so you plug the G and B together first, and then you play the high E string, which is open. So far you have this. And right after that you have this. So right after you played this, you play the high E string again, and then you have this. So here you're playing the 4th fret of the D string and the 3rd fret of the B string, and you're plucking both of them together. So you pluck the D string and the B string together like this, and then you have this, where you lift this up from the 3rd fret and you play the 1st fret and pull off to the open string while holding this note. So the whole thing slowly sounds like this. And And after that you have this part. So right after you played this, you change into an A minor chord. So you start by playing the first fret of the B string, and then you play the open A string, and then you play the second fret of the G string. So you get this. So on the right hand you're playing 2, 5, 3. You're playing the second string, the fifth string, and then the third string. So from the start up until this point you have this. And after that you have this. So there you play the open high E string once. And then you play this shape where you're playing the first fret of the G string and the third fret of the B string. And you plug the G and B string together. So. And then you play the first fret of the B string and then pull off to the open B string. Like that. So. While holding this note. So the whole thing becomes this. And after that you change back to the A minor chord. Just like you did it before. So you play the first fret of the B string, then the open A string, and then the second fret of the G string. Like that. So I'll play the last part very slow. It sounds like this. And we'll end by playing this fill. So there you're playing the open G string and then you're hammering onto the second fret of the G string. And then you're playing the first fret of the B string. So, like that. And you play this right after playing the A minor chord, so the whole thing sounds like this. And that's the first round of the chorus. I'll play the whole thing once. It sounds like this. And the next round of the chorus sounds like this. So over here the very last part is different. So you played the same all the way till this part. And after that you have this. So after you've reached here, you play this, where you're playing the open G string and you're playing the third fret of the high E string while holding this note on the third fret of the B string. So you plug the open G string and the third fret of the high E string together. So you're playing the third string and the first string together. And after that you have that. So you lift this up and play the open high E string and then you play the third fret of the B string. So I'll play it again slowly. It sounds like this. And after that you have this. So there you have this chord. You're playing the second fret of the D string, the first fret of the G string, and the third fret of the B string. You also have the high E string open. So you play the high E string first, which is open. And then you play the note on the D string. So you just play the fourth string. So, and after that you pluck these three together, the G, B, and high E. So you pluck them together like this. So the whole thing sounds like this. And right after you played this, you have this. So you play the fourth string, the third string, and then the first string while holding the chord. So you're playing the D string, the G string, and then the high E string like this. And the high E string is open. So like that. So from the start till here, it sounds like this. And right after that you have this part. So right after you played this part, you have this chord, where you're playing the 2nd fret of the D string, the 4th fret of the G string, the 3rd fret of the B string, and the 4th fret of the high E string. Like that. So right after you played this, you change to this chord and play it like this. You pluck the whole chord. So you pluck the 4th string, 3rd string, 2nd string, and 1st string all together. So like this. And then you play this, where I'm playing 2, 3, 4, 1. 2, 3, 4, 1 while holding that chord. So the whole thing becomes this. And to end you have this chord. So over here you have to bar across the 5th fret of the G string, the B string, and the high E string like this. If you take this as your 1st fret, the one right after the capo, this would be your 5th fret. So you bar across the 5th fret with your index finger, the G, B, and high E string like this. And you also have the open A string, so you play all of those together with a roll. You're playing the 5th string, the 3rd string, the 2nd string, and the 1st string like this to end. So the ending sounds like this. So I'll play the whole chorus once. It sounds like this. So now we know the intro, the verse, and the chorus. After this we have the 2nd verse and the 2nd chorus, both of which are very similar to the 1st verse and the 1st chorus that we already learned. But they have slight variations. Now before we start the 2nd verse, there's this little fill that leads into the 2nd verse, which sounds like this. So if you play it really slow, it sounds like this. So you start by playing the open high E string, and then you do this. So you play the 3rd fret of the B string, then pull off to the 1st fret, then pull off to the open string. And then you play the 2nd fret of the G string, like that. So the whole thing becomes this. And if you play it a little quick, it sounds like this. So I'll play it again really slow, it sounds like this. And if you speed it up, it sounds like this. So you play it right before you go into the 2nd verse. So it sounds like this. And so on. So I'll play the 2nd verse once. It's just a little different from the 1st verse. So it sounds like this. So the first bit of the 2nd verse is the same as what you played in the first bit of the 1st verse. So it sounds like this. So this part is exactly the same as the first part of the 1st verse that we learned before. And after that you repeat this whole part that I just played once more for the 2nd verse. So if I play it from the start of the 2nd verse, it sounds like this. after that you have this part. So over here till you reach this part, everything is the same till there. After this you go directly into another round of the verse. So you play another round of that, and this time after you've reached this part, you have this ending. So there you have this. You start with the open high E string, you play that once, and then you play the open G string with the 3rd fret of the high E string. And then you play the high E string again, and then you have this. So there you play the open G string and the 3rd fret of the B string together, so you play the G and B together. And then you play the high E string, which is open. So the whole thing sounds like this. And you've played all these parts before in the first verse, but this time in the second verse is just in a slightly different order. And right after you played this, you have this, which is the strumming that leads into the second chorus. So I'll play the second verse again from the start till this point. So it sounds like this. And after this you have the second chorus, which is very similar to the first chorus. Actually it's just an extended version of the first chorus. So the second chorus sounds like this. So if you think about it, you're just playing the first chorus 3 times in a row, and at the end of each time, instead of going to this chord, you're going back to this A minor chord. So if you play one round of the chorus, it sounds like this. And after that, instead of going to this chord, you're playing the A minor again, the same way. And then you're continuing, so. And so on. So you're playing 3 rounds of the first chorus, and at the end of the first 2 rounds, you're not going to this chord, and instead you're playing this A minor chord. But at the end of the 3rd round, which is also the final time that you play the chorus, you play this chord. So you end here, like that. So I'll play the whole chorus, the whole second chorus slowly. It sounds like this. And that's the second chorus, after which the song ends. So from the start you have the intro, then you have the first verse, and then you have the first chorus. After that you have the second verse, and then you have the second chorus. And that's the whole song. Thank you so much for watching. If you'd like to see more videos like this one, then subscribe to my channel. Also, if you have any questions or requests for song tutorials, then do let me know in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching. Take care. I'll see you in the next video.